All right. Are you Yosniel Lopez? Is it Ajete? All right, sir, you're charged with liquor sale without a permit. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Yes, Judge. On October 25th, 2024, the officer conducted a vice investigation at a bar known as Poppy's in Harris County, Texas. The officer received a tip that the bar was operating illegally by selling alcohol without a permit, as well as selling during prohibited hours. The officer observed the defendant serving drinks behind the bar sometime after 2:30 a.m. The officer was able to purchase a White Claw from the defendant, and the officer verified on the TABC website that the location did not have a permit to sell liquor.
He just had one dismissed as well.
Yes, Judge.
Same place?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Arquette, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I need to put conditions on him not to do this anymore. What is your immigration status? Are you in this country with or without permission?
Ilegalmente. No, I am a U.S. citizen.
You're a
I am a
United
US
States
citizen.
citizen. I am ordering you now not to work in any bar whatsoever. I'm ordering you not to work in any establishment where 50% or more of liquor sales are the primary purpose of the establishment. Do you understand? You
Yes.
just had one dismissed and now you're back, not 4 months later. If I find that you do this again, I'm going to put you in jail and I'm going to make your bond high. Do you understand?
Yes.
This means no bars,
Bars
nightclubs,
and nightclubs.
anything of this nature where 50% or more alcohol is sold. Do you understand? If I find that you do, I'm going to put you in jail. I will not give you any more PR bonds and I'm going to make it high.
Okay.
I'm going to have you sign a receipt of Victoria. After that, we'll have you take your seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it. And after that, you'll be free to go. Thanks, counsel. Can you file that, guys, please?
Yes, Judge.
Vic,
Harris.
thanks. Good morning, Mr. Harris.
Morning, how you doing, Your Honor?
Sir, you're charged with resisting arrest. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On October 26, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in response to a suspicious person. The complainant stated that someone had been beating on his door for 15 minutes. While the officers were speaking to the complainant pointed out the defendant as the person who had been knocking. The complainant had a ring camera that showed the defendant was the person knocking on the door. The defendant admitted to being intoxicated, and the officer advised the defendant to go home and stop bothering the complainant. The officer left, but shortly after, the complainant called back, stating the defendant was damaging property in the bed of the complainant's truck. The officer returned and attempted to detain the defendant. While the officers were reaching for the defendant's wrist, the defendant yanked his arms back twice away from the officer. The defendant was being placed under arrest for public intoxication.
Now's not the time. Okay, you will get the opportunity to fight the case. Just now's not the time. I've got a bunch of DAs here. Anything you say, they're going to use it against you. It's just not the time. Mr. Harris, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to lock you up. I'm not asking much. I'm also ordering you not to go back to this place. Do you understand? What do you do for a living, sir? What do you do for a living?
What I do for a living, nothing as of right now.
How old are you?
23.
You graduate from high school.
I did, sir.
Okay, so what are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Looking for a job. I had just currently moved to a new address, so I'm looking in the area for a job.
When is the last time you've had a job?
The end of May, beginning June
Which year?
this year. I was at Pilot gas station. I was a cashier and a slash field attendant.
What'd you start?
I had moved. Like I said, I moved into a different address.
Who do you live with?
My mom and my stepfather.
It's time for you to start working.
Of course.
Too much time on your hands, you're becoming self-destructive. This is not a good way to go through life, Mr. Harris. You know, you got no job, you got no money, you got no prospects. The older you get, the harder life becomes. If you don't have a job, if you ain't got no knowledge, you'll go nowhere in life, penniless when you're 50. That's not a way to go through life. So I want you to get a full-time job. I'm making that a condition of your bond. You understand?
And sir, I do have footage of me not resisting. It's on my aunt's security camera.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just want to put that out
I'm
there.
going to appoint your lawyer today. My only concern is that you make something of yourself, Mr. Harris.
Of course, of course.
One of those statistically just nothing bums that have nothing.
I plan on going to college as well, so I want to do something with my life.
Your lawyer today. I'm going to bring you back in 2 weeks, and I want to see what you've done to get a job. If you've done nothing, it's not going to go well between us. Do you understand? Okay. Let me see if I have an application. I need you to fill out an application for me. Deputy's going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset, and then I'm going to have you take your seat in the jury box. Okay? All right. Are you Jessica Johnson? Ms. Johnson, you're charged with terroristic threat of a family or a household member. That kicks it up to a Class A misdemeanor. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Yes, Judge. On October 25th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in reference to a terroristic threat. The officer made contact with the complainant. The complainant stated he argued with the defendant, his girlfriend, over the defendant video chatting with a male acquaintance, naked and masturbating. The complainant woke up to the defendant again, naked and masturbating to the same male, and asked the defendant if she wanted to have sex. The defendant said no and began to argue with the complainant for asking too much. The defendant stated she would hurt herself, punch the complainant, then call the officer if he were to call the officer first. The complainant drove the defendant to a gas station, dropped her off, and later received a message on social media from the defendant with a picture of the license plate, a picture of the complainant, and a message that the complainant better lock his door and my homie lives nearby, he's gonna pick me up. The officer made contact with the defendant. The defendant stated she did not make any threats, and the complainant made domestic threats against her. The defendant consented to search of her phone, and the officer located the messages to the complainant, stating to lock his doors and images of the complainant's face and license plate.
What is the threat? Sends a picture of a license plate.
And of his face saying he better lock his door, and then the message that her homie lives nearby. And then she had previously stated that she would punch the complainant.
Which is the, I mean,
I'll see how it was pled, Your Honor.
says here that heretofore on or about October 25th, threatened to commit an offense involving violence, namely an assault upon a person with the intent to place complainant in imminent serious bodily injury. It has to be on October 25th. Look at October 25th, what happened on that day?
Yes, Your Honor. On that day, all that we have is that prior to being dropped off the gas station, she told the complainant that she would punch him. And then he dropped her off at the gas station, and then she sent him the pictures of himself, his license plate, and said he better lock his door.
And you're doesn't work like that. You can't
Yes,
just piggyback. There's
Yes,
no
Judge.
bootstrapping. It's
I believe
I would
it,
argue that the punching, telling him that she's going to punch him in the face would have been the terroristic.
When was that?
it was the same day on October 25th.
Yes. So they got into an argument at the house, and then he was driving her to the gas station. And I think during the drive, she said that she was going to punch him in the face.
And then that's when he dropped her off, and then he later got the messages. But there was that initial threat of being punched
Right.
It says that in the OR that
in the DMs that the complainant stated that she would, or the defendant stated she would punch him. Yes, that's what stated in the DMs. That's the threat of violence in the DMs that we have.
Ms. Johnson, I'm going to find probable cause for now. Do you have a lawyer? Okay, what do you do with yourself these days? Are you working?
I'm from Ohio. I was just here visiting a friend and he wanted more.
Let's do this. I'm going to today so that you guys can talk and figure out what the dynamic is, because maybe there's more to it that I'm not seeing. For now, I'm going to order you not to have contact with this person and not to be in possession of weapons. I'm going to get you a lawyer. You guys talk about this, and then we'll see where it goes. Okay. So for now, I'm going to have you sign a wreath of Victoria. I'll just have you take a seat momentarily in the jury box. I'll have you speak to someone here momentarily, and then we'll go forward. Okay.
Thank you.
Please, ma'am. Are you Abraham Romero?
Sir.
Mr. Romero, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes. On October 27th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a minor accident in Harris County, Texas. The accident was a single vehicle accident running over a fence. And upon arrival, the officer observed the defendant's motor vehicle to be running and on, saw smoke coming from the hood of the vehicle, and observed damage to a metal fence of the property. Upon contact with the defendant, who was the sole occupant and driver of the motor vehicle, the officer observed the defendant to have slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, an odor of an alcoholic beverage, and noticed him to be unsteady on his feet and having a hard time maintaining balance. The officer also observed Corona bottles in plain view on the front passenger floorboard. The defendant admitted to drinking and to being drunk. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6. One leg stand and walk and turn could not be completed due to safety concerns. The DIC was read and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.193 and 0.191.
Residents, I see if he has any prior DPIs, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Romero, is it Romero or Romero
Sir.
with an O?
Yes, sir. Correct.
We need to do the name change, please. It should be Romero, not Romero. I've never met a Romero. Mr. Romero, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license?
Sir.
Do you have valid liability insurance in your name?
Sir.
You have car insurance.
Sir.
I'm ordering you, can you run his license also, Alex?
Yes, Your Honor. And no prior DWIs.
Okay. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I will randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bombs. What do you do for a living, Mr. Romero?
I work at IO Bush, sir. The airport of Bush,
Okay, doing what?
a warehouse agent,
How much money do you make a month?
$15 an hour.
Who do you live with?
My parents.
We're going to give you time to hire a lawyer. You need to get on it quick. There's a lot of timing requirements with the DWIs. Don't sit and wait a month or two because you're only hurting yourself. You need to get on it quick. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. We're going to get you out of here to hire a lawyer. After that, you'll meet with Fleischer for your bond conditions. And then after that, you'll be free to go. Beware. Don't use alcohol. Don't use any illegal drugs. Do you understand?
Sure.
Okay, buddy. Please.
Your Honor, there were no records found for the driver's license of this defendant in our system. So
Do you have a Texas driver license? Okay. Are you Tariq Shafi?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shafi, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're also charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. On the gun case, you're facing up to a year and or a $4,000 fine. On your DWI, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On October 26, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a possible DWI with the follower. Upon arrival, the officer conducted a traffic stop on the defendant's motor vehicle due to a reasonable suspicion of driving while intoxicated on West M. Houston Tollway in Harris County, Texas. The follower observed the defendant's motor vehicle swerving in and out of its lanes on the ramp to West M. Houston Tollway and while on the main lines, as well as strike an unknown passing motor vehicle. Upon contact with the defendant, the officer observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, red bloodshot eyes, and saw the defendant swaying while standing and walking. The defendant admitted to drinking and to having a holstered firearm, a Glock 22 on his right hip. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 6 out of 8, one leg stand 2 out of 4. The DIC was read and the defendant consented to breath. The results were .084 and .085. No, Your Honor.
License.
Eligible, Your Honor.
Mr. Shafi, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. We're going to randomly test you. For find that you're using alcohol or any illegal drugs, you will go to jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand? You speak English, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. You'll get with Fleischer for your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. Don't wait on your lawyer search. Get on it quick. There's a lot of timing
My
requirements.
lawyer didn't show up yet. I hired them yesterday
Who?
at Dunham and Jones. And some attorney named Darrell was supposed to be here.
I don't see anything filed. We can wait a little bit. A lot of times they go to a bunch of other courts. I know that they're very busy. So, I mean, eventually they'll get here. Just be patient. We'll have you sign all the documents. That way you're ready with that. And then we'll just wait for them to get here. So if you'd be so kind just to wait in the pew over there, we'll wait. Okay? Okay, please. You have the information.
Yes, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Santana, you're charged with unlawful restraint. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 29th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, regarding a disturbance in an unknown weapon. Upon arrival, the officers met with the witness who stated the defendant and the complainant's child came to his door asking for help, stating that the defendant was fighting with the complainant and he had locked her in the bedroom. Upon the officer's arrival, the defendant released the complainant after at least 15 minutes of confinement, and the officers observed the complainant with bloodshot eyes appearing to have been crying and was visibly upset. The complainant advised that she and the defendant got into a verbal argument, and when she attempted to leave, the defendant got in front of her, closed and blocked the door, and the complainant advised that the defendant ignored her, repeated pleas that he release her. The defendant pushed the complainant back away from the door repeatedly, grabbed her, holding her in place, and then took her to the bathroom and pushed her up against the wall. The defendant then punched the mirror, shattering the glass, a piece of which fell and cut the complainant's right hand. The complainant had told the officers she is afraid for her safety and she would like a mower.
Judge, this complainant has been a complainant in a previous case, another AFM, in 2021, in which the defendant was put on.
What happened with the defer? Did he complete it successfully?
It looks like it was terminated, Judge.
You spoken to her?
I have spoken to her. She reached out to us yesterday because the defendant had contacted her as soon as he got out. He was released from jail, and she contacted our office very frantic. And that's why we asked him, Victoria asked him to come here today because the complainant really wants the MOAB signed.
I'm putting a monitor on your ankle, Mr. Santana. I don't want you going anywhere near her, and I'm going to restrict your movement as well. If I find that you go anywhere near this person within 1,000 feet of where she lives or where she works, I'm going to put you in jail and I'm going to make your bond sky high. Do you understand?
Sure.
You're not to have any contact with this person, not to be in possession of weapons, not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, and I'm going to test you to make sure that you're not using. Do you understand? I'm entering in what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection. This is a court order that identifies Ms. Salcedo as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person, commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot stalk, threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot be in possession of a weapon. This usually goes within it, has a 200 feet residential and employment restriction. I'm making it 1,000. Do you understand?
Can I ask a question? What about my kids? Like,
You're going to have to use someone else. You will have to use an intermediary to get access to your kids. You cannot have any contact with this person.
no, with her, but picking them up from the house.
Someone else. You have a child with this person?
I have all my kids, 4.
You have 4 kids with this person. You're going to have to use someone else. So let's do this. Do you have you have her phone number now?
I do.
Can you reach out to her now and see if there is someone that she trusts, an intermediary to help facilitate, exchanges with the kids? That way we know he has this one person that she feels comfortable with to be able to exchange kids.
Yeah, I know that she did mention someone to me yesterday. She is a teacher at a school, so I don't have no guarantee that she'll pick up the phone right this
Okay.
instant, but I will.
It's okay. I mean, right, let's try it.
Yeah.
If you can, great. If not, we'll have to find some other workable solution, I want you to have access to your kids. You should have access to your kids, but I just don't want you to have any contact with this person. That's it. And I don't want you to use, I've got kids. I use that as an excuse to try to make any kind of contact with this person whatsoever.
So what if she contacts me?
You hang up the phone. I'm going to tell her now not to have contact with you. So I'm going to advise the DAs to call her and tell her not to have contact with you. If she calls you, don't pick up. If she calls you from an unknown number and you answer the phone and it's her, hang up. If she texts you, don't reply. If she emails you, don't reply. If she comes to your house, don't open the door. I seriously doubt that these things are going to happen because, as it sounds, she's pretty scared of you. So
We've been together 19 years.
Judge, she advised me that they broke up 2 years ago. He's a truck driver and doesn't really come by the house often anyway. She just hasn't moved out of the house, but she was in the process of moving out. And he discovered that, and that's what he got angry about, which is what the CW told me. I'm gonna go ahead and give her a call and let her know what you said. Judge, just give me 5 minutes.
Yeah. Look, there's no rush. Take your time. The other thing is that in the MOA, if she doesn't want him to know the address, we can just put any address and we don't list it in the MOA so that he doesn't know where the address is. And then we can find a mutually, a mutually agreed to location where you guys can exchange the kids. She'll have someone else to take the kids to that location. That way you can get them, for an agreed upon time for however long it may be, There's always a way to be able to do this without you having to go to jail. I mean, if you go to jail, it's because you've done something to violate these conditions. I don't get off on putting people in jail. I just want my public safe. That's all I want.
I have one more question, sir.
Shoot.
She said I'm a truck driver.
It works everywhere all over the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, I want assurance that you're not going to go over there. You're not going to try to do anything with this person. We have enough death and destruction in Harris County. I'm trying to prevent any more from happening. Okay. And I will even pay for it for you so that there's no excuse. That's about a $400 bill that I'm going to eat every month so that you don't have to, pay for it. So I want you to understand that money is never an excuse. It's just, as long as you can abide by these conditions, you'll be fine with us. That's it. Have you signed the order for protection?
So the defendant and complainant's eldest daughter is 17 years old. She drives, she has a driver's license. The complainant trusts her to act as an intermediary.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That helps.
she also did give me the name of a friend who, her name is Chrissy Guerrero. She trusts her as well. And so if the.
As long as, I mean, so we have this, your oldest, I guess, is a 17-year-old. She drives. So we can use her as the intermediary to be able to help you get access to all the kids, you know? I think that'll work great. So I'm not preventing you access from any of your kids. I just don't want you to have contact with her. So if your 17-year-old has a cell phone, which I'm sure she does, right?
Yeah.
Call her,
One.
right? And you can use her to be able to, you know, see and speak to everybody else. Just don't, under any reason, have any contact with her whatsoever.
And she did say that if he ever needs to go to the home or anything, she'll leave the house so that he
That's
can
right.
temporarily go in. So she's being very cooperative and understanding.
That was my question, yeah, because I'm never home.
But you can't do that. We've got
Yeah.
an order for protection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's either there or it's not.
Okay.
So I don't want to have so many blurred lines that they're, you know what I mean?
So
So
just to make it clear, he
now
can't have
I don't want
access
you to go back to this house for the time being. I don't want you to go back to this house. I don't want you to accidentally pop in and she's there and then everything goes
Oh, no,
haywire.
no, but it's just when she's not there, like,
No,
because she told my daughter this morning, like, I'm about to leave out of town. And she told my daughter, well, to her dad to come in. She's at work, get his clothes and get whatever I need. And
don't go back to this house.
how much stuff is there, Mars?
You have to use someone else to get it. Don't go back to this house. Don't. I don't want something to happen where she's accidentally there and you think that she's not there and you go and then boom. Don't. I'm trying to prevent anything worse from happening. That's it. All right?
I'll use my daughter. Like you said.
All right. We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire lawyers. So we'll have you sign all these bond conditions and after that you'll be free to go. But hold on a second because you're going to have to sign the order for protection. You don't need to file anything because we're going to have him monitor over there. So that way, okay?
Sounds good, Judge.
All right, bud. So we'll have you sign a reset and then we'll have you meet with Felicia here momentarily. Okay?